The second half of matchday 5 in the UEFA Champions League featured a clash at the Etihad between Manchester City and Paris Saint-Germain earlier on Wednesday. As I welcome you back to the SportsMax zone. Before we take those highlights though, let's look at how Inter Milan overcame Shaktar to reach the last 16 of the competition.
We can get back underway. Back in from Perisic, now Lautaro Martinez! With a wonderfully acrobatic finish to fire Inter in front. Back in here from Perisic. There's a push. A little push on Matvienko. Went through the goalkeeper Trubin, but that enough. Perisic looks to whip that into Lautaro. Falls now for Darmian, and the follow-up from Dzeko. Finally, definitively, Inter make the breakthrough. Never gonna miss, was he? Perisic. Oh, floated in for number 2 and number 50 in UEFA club competition for Edin Dzeko. Here's Mudryk. Now Solomon. Chance for him to cut inside. Oh, might have gone over there. Instead, he's picked out Marlos, who tees up Dodo, and somehow they don't pull a goal back. It's Inter's night, and it might get even better later on. 2 goals from Edin Dzeko in the final half hour, in the space of 6 minutes. Inzaghi will be delighted with that.
Pippo Inzaghi's little brother Filippo Simone, beg your pardon. Filippo is Pippo Inzaghi. Simone, the little brother who is managing Inter Milan. Brent Sancho joins the discussion. Brent, 2 veterans doing the business for Inter Milan. They don't have Romelu Lukaku anymore. Lautaro Martinez didn't score a legitimate goal today. But the old Bosnian, Edin Dzeko, and the evergreen Croat, Ivan Perisic, a class apart for Inter Milan, helping them to beat Shaktar and reach the next stage of this competition.
Yeah, certainly a class apart, and I would suggest that Dzeko played with a cigar and a bit of caviar in one hand. It was such a vintage performance by the veteran, as you rightfully said. You know, there was a lot of conversation around this Inter Milan team when Conte left, as you rightfully said, Lukaku, and the talk of, quote-unquote, the fire sale. I spoke to one of the representatives at the club, and he was ready to pull his hair out because he was suggesting that it really was a fire sale. Hakimi left, and so on. But when you look at this Inter Milan squad and what they've been able to do so far, both in the Serie A season and now, they have done a tremendous job. They've not only just settled the ship, but they look like a team on a given day can produce the results that could propel them forward in this competition. They were good value for money today and certainly deserve all 3 points as they march on into the second round.
Sometimes you see a team, a big name team, one of Europe's elite, and Inter Milan are certainly that, and they draw a relatively comfortable group and you think that they are going to struggle through, or they eventually struggle through. But Inter Milan, for the most part, have been comfortable in this group. Do you have the sense that they have the personnel there in this squad right now to trouble a bigger name team than they would have faced in this group stage if they draw that team in the second round, in the last 16?
I think so. I think they can on their given day. They would have to play against the likes of Man City, PSG, Bayern Munich, just to name a few off the top of my head. They may have to play the perfect game, George, but I think if they were to draw a mid-tier team, and with all due respect to Manchester United.
Oh, for shame, my friend, for shame. A mid-table team like Manchester United. Oh,
Tough stuff,
Manchester United of now. Let me suggest that the Manchester United of now, what we see now.
But that's a fact.
I think that they could get a result there. But look, there is quality in the squad. There's no doubt about it. Although they've lost the manager and all those players. But I think if they are to come up against one of the real, as I said, about 4 or 5 teams that I think could win the Champions League this year, I think they may struggle.
All right, Inter Milan, they're getting through to the last 16 after that waltz against Shaktar Donetsk. Let's talk about Atletico and AC Milan now, this clash. Let's go to some highlights.
I'll be hoping both sides that mistakes aren't the order of this particular evening. But so much at stake. Exception by Luis Suarez. Romagnoli finds front Kessié. Here goes the positive Theo Hernandez, but there's nothing offering there for Milan. And now Griezmann's away. And this could be the best chance of the game so far. Carrasco coming in. He didn't think he got the final touch. Koke has been in the heat of the battle. Well, that was what they were lacking in the first half. Shots on target. Maybe that was the message from Stefano Pioli, practitioner of the goalkeeping arts of a very high level. Kessié! There it is!
Messias, what a goal that is from Milan.
Messias Jr. becomes the hero of AC Milan. Look at the celebrations.
What a story.
Messias is the Messiah here for AC Milan, who lead in the Metropolitano Stadium. They've played the waiting game, the patient game. Bravo, AC Milan. They took the fact that you don't have to win it early on. They played the patient game. Simeone's off down the tunnel. A defeated manager is punished really for the team's caution, settling for the draw that they haven't got. Ibrahimovic came on and was on the field when the crucial goal went in, but he's not the story.
So, Brent, what the devil is happening here? Atletico Madrid at home under Simeone, at home, and they give a man a free header in the 87th minute in their own stadium. I almost can't believe it.
You know, George, I was in Spain about a month or so ago, and I think I told you this off air. And you get the feeling, talking to the people in and around the Wandana Stadium and people at Atletico Madrid, that Simeone effect, and we know what we're talking about when we mean the Simeone effect that Atletico Madrid had, is wearing off. If I was to do a poll back then, if I did a poll back then, I would suggest at least 50% of the persons I spoke to would like to see the back of Simeone at Atletico Madrid. It's a funny feeling around a football club because the pressing, the type of smash mouth football that Atletico Madrid is used to playing, and we're used to seeing from them, resolute defending, as you rightly said. Back 4 or 5 years ago, they would not give up a goal in the 87th minute, but something seems to be not going right at Atletico Madrid. We've seen it in of course, La Liga with some of their indifferent performances, and we saw it here tonight. They're in last place in their group, of course, and their last fixture is against a Porto team that I fancy.
Yeah, they're actually third on goal difference. They have a -3, and Milan beat them a -2, but it's potato and potato. You know, I want to ask you something about the group, but I have to follow up on what you said just now, because is it then that perhaps Simeone is a victim of the success he has had at Atletico, the stability and the success, and that the people, the fans, have a gnawing sense of wanting more? And they see him as being too restricted, too straight-jacketed, too rigid and regimented. And because they have this success and stability under him, and they want more, and he's not going to be expansive to attempt getting more, they want somebody else in town. Could that be the reasoning?
Listen, you've hit the nail on the head. Remarkably, with that tour that I did in Spain, the president of Atletico Madrid spoke to us as well, and he sang praises for Simeone. In fact, if it was up to him, he said he would keep him for the rest of his life. He thinks that stability that Simeone brings as a manager is paramount to their commercial success, to the success that the club has had from a financial perspective, the growth of the club, and of course the fact that they now can battle with the top teams in La Liga. Those were his words. But as you rightfully said, the fans around football, they would look at a Manchester City, they would look at a PSG, they'd look at even their neighbours Real Madrid. And the fact that they play front foot football, they play expansive, they play attacking type football. And Simeone is just not going to do that. And just if you want to go deeper into it, you just have to ask Raul Felix and the type of playing time he's had while he's been at Atletico Madrid. One of the most heralded young players in football has been stifled at Atletico Madrid.
Right. Well, Brent, let's take a look now at how Liverpool maintained their 100% record as they faced FC Porto earlier today.
Now away we go. Liverpool from right to left. Just dispossessed in the end. Tried to wriggle through the Welshman. Konate was caught in possession. That's a good ball, and Luis Diaz is running clear, and he has support to his right-hand side, and it's missed by Otavio. Now, it's Sadio Mane, rolls it into the net. He'll check to see whether that will count or not. The finish is not in doubt at all. Well, this is down to the video assistant referee's team to see whether this counts or not. And it's not going to count. Hit it firmly away. Hit by Thiago! He's very happy now. You cannot hit a football more sweetly than that. You simply can't hit it any better than that. Henderson back into Salah, who scores. Well, really, it's his first chance of the game, and Mohamed Salah has taken it. It's a close offside, you know. That's a lovely shimmy away from Matteo Uribe, and then he's really beaten the goalkeeper with his eyes. 5 wins from 5 games in Group B for Liverpool. Porto were the better side in the first half. 3 big opportunities missed, but then Thiago Alcantara with a special goal.
So Brent, Liverpool coming away with the win there because Porto failed to capitalise on not only one but a couple of chances throughout this game.
Yeah, Porto has been a team in this group that has played particularly well. Luis Diaz, I think, probably one of the most sought-after talent in European football, putting on a show. A first half, of course, that Porto would have felt they'd done enough to at least go in the lead. And as you rightfully said, some of the chances that they had, they should have put it away. You know, Mariah, this group, when it was drawn up, it was considered the group of death, Group B. And if you were to ask any analyst, anybody that's involved or in and around football or football fan, if they felt that Liverpool would be 15 points at this point in the group stage, undefeated, 5 wins out of 5, they would have told you you're crazy. And they've been able to achieve that. And a lot of it is down to the way they have approached games. And they have beaten teams in a fashion that is very Liverpool-like. And you have to give them credit for what they've been able to achieve so far, because I certainly didn't think it would have been this easy for Liverpool in this Group B.
Yeah, and Brent, Thiago Silva with the opening goal for Liverpool. What do you make of his performance this season? Do you sense improvement?
It's difficult for him. I think when he first came into Liverpool, of course, he had to adjust. He had a bit of an injury in start. And I think it's been a bit of stop and start for him. It's certainly not the Thiago we saw at Bayern Munich before he came across. But is there talent there? Yes. I mean, I thought his goal was absolutely unbelievable. This is something you could only dream about doing as a professional athlete, a professional player. That just shows his technical ability and what he can do. But I think he needs a run of game, and Liverpool is the type of team that is very difficult for him, because Jurgen Klopp has players that are playing extremely well in that players. Naby Keita is one of them that has made it very difficult for of course, for him to get a game. But I think once he continuously gets these types of performances in, his confidence is going to grow, and we may see a lot more of him.
Yeah, but one quick final one on Liverpool and on the Thiago fellow. Isn't it true, Brent, that the foreigners who succeed in the Premier League are the foreigners who come young and unproven and make their name there? The Premier League has a reputation of making a fool of someone who has built their reputation elsewhere and then come to the Premier League as a big talent. I'm struggling to think of a huge talent somewhere who then came to the Premier League and was the equal of what they were before. And I think that's just the same thing that is happening to Thiago right now.
Yeah, I agree with you there, because you would have felt that what we saw, I mean, take him as a player at Bayern Munich that we remember. That wasn't too long ago. He was absolutely amazing. He was a dominating performer. And now look at him now at Liverpool, and it certainly isn't the same player. I mean, I've made some excuses for him as it relates to his injuries and the start that he had at Liverpool, but he certainly is not the same type of performer that we had before. And you know, you talk about adjustment into this league. We've seen it so many times. Of course, Juan Varane, example, for Manchester United, reminds me of him. Outstanding player, came to United and couldn't kick a line.
Absolutely so. Salah, a few weeks ago, after that performance against Man City, people were saying that here you are, this man is the best player in the world. For some reason, Brent, I haven't been hearing anybody saying that in the past few weeks. What has been happening to them? He scored today, but is this man still the best player in the world?
I think he's probably one of the more informed players in the world. He's certainly not the best player. I mean, you have to look at the likes of Lewandowski if you were forcing me to obviously make a call on that. But Salah has been good this season. He's been extremely good. Liverpool have been extremely good this season in their front three, and they've been playing a lot more. I think, if you remember Salah from last season, he did struggle a bit to find a bit of form. But what we've seen now is that oozing of confidence that we saw in his previous season with Liverpool. And that only augurs well for their chances in the Champions League. Do I think they could go on and win the Champions League? They have a chance, but I don't have them up there with the top three teams in my mind that I think can go on and win this Champions League.
Yeah, they've been dominating in their group, as the points tally says. Only them and Bayern Munich have managed to win the group, and they're the only two teams in the group with a positive goal difference. All of the other three teams have negative goal differences, which just shows you how awesome their attacking machinery is at this point in time. Well, all right, let's go to Man City and PSG. We've dealt with you've had the hors d'oeuvres before the entree, Brent. Naughty, naughty boy. Here's the entree for you.
Reaffirming their commitment to battling against all forms of racism in football. And now the big match is underway. Rodri. Mahrez, he's been given plenty of room to collect. Little dink into Gundogan, the back heel was clever. Here's Mahrez! It's deflected over the top. That was goal bound. Stopped by Hakimi. Well read by João Cancelo, and look how quickly this is moving. Cancelo, Zinchenko with a stumble in the box. Cancelo turns Hakimi, cracking ball in, Gundogan off the post.
The penalty area to take on his man, to show his tricks.
Stones showing his tricks there, but he's been caught on the ball, and Neymar feeds Mbappe. Mbappe goes for it, but lent back too far. Lionel Messi. Neymar. Look at Mendes going. Herrera's furthest forward in the centre. Neymar leaves it for Messi. Back with Messi. Across to Mbappe, who has time to set and drill it through Ederson to give Paris Saint-Germain the lead in Manchester.
Through the legs of Ederson, does the job. It just goes to show, doesn't it?
can have all the play in the world. If you don't make it count, you're always vulnerable to this kind of thing happening.
That's Rodri, and he sees the run of Walker. Jesus couldn't finish. Sterling can. 1-1.
And they've shown good character and composure to keep with the game plan. It's a lovely pass into Walker, who doesn't mess about. After that, Jesus keeps it alive by just getting across his man. And he's had to stretch there, hasn't he? Just the end of the toe doing the damage for Sterling and City.
Gundogan. Mahrez. Bernardo Silva, oh cute! Gabriel Jesus! Manchester City in front! Another gorgeous goal!
Really good build-up play. And Mahrez picking out his man at the far post, but what about that? Just in his path, and to stroke it in. He's seen the open part of the goal in the way that Neymar didn't up the other end. Might have been off his studs in the end, but he wants to put it there, and he did. Jesus.
That looks deliberate to me.
And it's been a really excellent team performance by Guardiola, in contrast to Pochettino's. Chalk and cheese really tonight.
It's a statement win for Manchester City. It's a win that ensures they...
PSG, managed by the man they say can turn Manchester United's fortunes around. Not so sure many Man U fans aren't at the moment in time. Brent, let me come to you. The City goals, 2 finishes reminiscent of a classic centre forward, but neither Raheem Sterling nor Gabriel Jesus is a centre forward, but it just shows what good footballers they are.
Excellent footballers, great team play. And more importantly, I think it was great build-up, great finish. And as you rightfully said, that is what City is about. They are an excellent team. And to me, in world football, they're the best team in possession of the football. There's no doubt about it for me. And what we saw today is a team beating 3 individuals. And that is the story of today's Champions League game between PSG and Manchester City. And I think that is something that a lot of people are going to have to get used to, no matter what PSG has in terms of the individuals. It is just that, a bunch of individuals against a rock-solid team.
You know, I was nearly beaten up in the studio recently by our good friend Juan G. Arango when I suggested to him that Lionel Messi was finished, and that any coach worth his salt right now who had the choice of Phil Foden in his side or Lionel Messi would choose the young and progressive Englishman over arguably the greatest player of all time, who is no longer anywhere near that level. And today, Messi put in a performance again, Brent, which makes me feel that I was right.
Well, the thing about it is that again, we go back to that word individuals, and what Pep Guardiola demands from his team, that's the key word, demand, is certainly Pochettino don't. You look at Neymar, you look at Messi, as you rightfully said, and of course Mbappe. They're slow, they don't work hard defensively, they don't put in the kind of work. I counted twice today that PSG pressed Man City. They can't press because their front 3 don't want to do it. And of course, Lionel Messi falls into that category. I do think that he's a step slower than what we saw a couple of seasons back in Messi, and that's in Barcelona, sorry. And that's understandable. He is getting up there in age. He still has the quality on the football, but he has to get the football. And in world football, if you don't work hard defensively, and that's what City do, they work extremely hard defensively, that gives them, of course, the affordability to play good football offensively.
Yeah, Brent, and you know exactly what happened at Manchester United. I feel as if it's happening at PSG. Do you get the same sense? And I'm talking about the fact that they have a star-studded team, and I'm talking about names on paper, yet the coach, in this case, Mauricio Pochettino, is unable to bring out the best of these top players.
And I think that is going to be the story moving forward, because this is a man that a lot of Manchester United fans believe that could turn around their ship. If you listen to some of the sound bites coming out from some of his post-game or pre-game interviews, he hints to that. He hints to the fact that there is within the dressing room some challenges. He hints to the fact within the transfer and the leadership in the club and who makes the final decisions when it comes to transfers, etc. There is some challenges. And overall, he looks like a guy that doesn't really want to be there because of the fact that he doesn't have full control. I go back to the word demand. And Pep Guardiola would demand from his front three or his midfield or whoever it be that you play a certain way, and he wants that from them game in, game out. If Raheem Sterling doesn't play the way he asked him to play, Pep asks him to play, he's going to sit on the bench. Same for Mahrez, same for John Stones. We've seen it throughout Pep Guardiola's time at Manchester City. But I can bet you, Mariah, if Pochettino did that to Neymar or Messi or Mbappe, he'll be out the door. If he demanded from them to play and to perform and to press and to work, he'll be out the door. So certainly there is challenges there within the squad. And I do fear for PSG, because you would need almost a Conte-like figure to come into PSG to fix things.
Yeah, Brent. Well, we're out of time, so we're wrapping this one. Thank you so much for your expertise, and we'll be back after the break.
Certainly, guys. Have a good one.
Take care.